Hey guys, in this video we're going to go over my SSF armor stacker on the Juggernaut this time, and we're now level 95. From the last video, I have significantly increased my damage and my defense, as well as making my damage a lot more consistent and feel better in whatever content I'm doing right now. So we're going to go over how I've set it up and how you can set it up too. Maybe you'll find some ideas here that you can use on your stackers. Okay, so first of all, let's go for a quick showcase here. Right now, I didn't really show my atlas last time because all my atlases are kind of a mess, but I am trying to farm uniques, and so I'm actually out of the rogue scarabs right now, so I'm just doing like a scarab atlas, and I'm actually very low on these orb of unmakings, constantly running out of these, so I'm like swapping the tree to do whatever I want. And right now I'm not even running any scarabs right now because I don't really have any good scarabs, but we're gonna just do the 8 mod jungle valley map. So I'm running, and we're putting on usually anarchy. I mean, I don't have any of the gigantic scarabs and all that kind of stuff yet because I used all of them, but when I do have them I run those to try to get some uniques. Okay, that looks good, so let's just jump in. Oh, right, you got a wildwood. Okay, that's nice. Alright, so let's kill these guys off real quick and jump into the wildwood and see if we can get some good loot. And it is super laggy from since this last patch. There was just like a patch from PoE 2, and I don't remember it being this laggy, so something is definitely going on. Alright, so we got a little bit of juice, not that much, but should maybe give us a little bit more loot. Oh my god, it's so laggy. Yeah, something definitely happened with this update. We got betrayal here, but they're already dead. I guess we should execute them. I still have to sort of fix up my filter. It's like showing a lot of things that I'm not even using right now. Alright. Some rogue exiles, but they are not a problem. Why is there a totem here? Yeah, these rogues can be a little bit tanky, but they are dropping some pretty nice loot. Oh, rubies, that's nice. Maybe we can use that. Alright, well, let's leave this kind of junk on the ground, I guess. Normally I'm actually like picking that up, but... So this character, I've also done a lot of like T17 maps, or not a lot of them, but I've dropped like 4 of them, and I've ran them with this same atlas, and it's been totally fine. I killed the boss a few times, and one time I actually ripped on the boss because it had like max energy shield, and I just couldn't kill it, and then they killed me, and then kept going back in, and every time I go back in they have like full energy shield, so I just kind of left the map. Oh, divine orb, nice. I actually really needed one of these because I actually spent all my divines. What did I spend it on? Oh, on crafting, like trying to divine my tincture. But yeah, so far the content I've done on this character is like, I've done legions to get my timeless jewel. I've done all of the non-uber pinnacle bosses. Alright, let's kill this guy off real quick with ball lightning strike. Kind of why I like playing lightning strike is because the ball lightning strike is just pretty insane, right? So pretty much done everything in the game, even like really juiced up essences and that kind of stuff. So basically all of that besides ubers. I haven't really tried ubers yet. Do this. Yeah, everything but ubers, obviously because I don't have any uber fragments. Could try it out, but I think maybe our damage is a little bit low for ubers. Alright. That should be fine. And I don't think I want to take the minus fizz damage reduction. It's kind of rippy. Especially because this character does get hit quite a bit. Alright, let's kill this guy off. rogue exiles, and that's pretty much the map, right? I guess let's try taking the Fizz damage reduction, see what it's like if we do take it. Fizz is extra lightning, alright, not a problem. And, yeah. I think these spiders are doing Fizz damage, but not enough to actually be a problem. And actually, like, since I've increased my damage, like, by quite a bit, I've actually, done some, like, magic finding. Alright, the boss is already dead. Alright, so that's pretty cool. Alright, so you can see that, a lot smoother than the last video, and I'll go over what I've changed. But first of all, I guess let's take a look at some of the gear. Nothing really has changed, except I, like, exalted on T1 Dex, I think this is, or it's T2 Dex, or it is Tier 1 Dex. So that's kind of cool. I did make a new body armor now with mana reservation efficiency, which is quite nice. And then I kind of messed up because I do kind of want to get Chaos Res on the body armor, I think, maybe. Because I'm getting Chaos Resistance on my belt, and when I eventually replace this belt with the Magnate, which is kind of the belt I want to use, I'm going to lose all my Chaos Res, so I'll have to figure something out. Okay, so I decided to change my belt. Before I was using, where is the belt? Alright, so I was using this belt, the Nivalius Inheritance, and I guess it's like I didn't really have anything better, and this gave me like 30% flask effect. But the problem is it really reduces your flask duration, and I wasn't having a lot of uptime on my flasks, especially on bosses, so I decided to change the belt completely, and I lost a little bit of damage because of losing flask effect. But I think until I get a Magnate, using a Stygian with, like, you know, armor, I mean not armor, life, then you can roll the flask effect on it. Mine is only tier 3, but this goes up a little bit higher. And then getting flask duration as a suffix, that combo is going to be really nice, and I really felt that my flasks are up a lot more than they were when I was using this belt. So I've decided just to go for a Stygian. So I think, yeah, this setup is going to be quite a lot better until you can get a Magnate, which is going to be, I think the Magnate is you lose a little bit of life, but you're going to gain quite a lot of damage, as well as a lot of flask, what do you call it, flask charges gained. Yeah, let's do this now. I found another sword and double corrupted it, and then it poofed, so I had to use a spare that I had that was really bad attack speed, so I tried divining it, and 4 times in a row, it was like 5%, 5%, 6%. No, actually, no, it started at like 7%, then it went down to 6%, then went down to 5%, and then it hit 5% 3 times in a row, and I'm out of divines. Hopefully now we get 10%. Alright, okay, well, it is what it is. Alright, so anyways, so that is the gear situation. Not much has changed. I did change my tincture now to an oak branch tincture because I want to have my rage up all the time, and what happens a lot of times is you get your rage up, and then you go to another pack and you lose all your rage and you're starting out with 0 rage again. Or when you're fighting bosses, they enter some kind of boss phase, you lose all your rage and you lose all your damage, right? Well, not all your damage, but you lose a lot of damage. So the oak branch tincture, it's basically allowing you to get up to max rage very, very quickly. Like, it takes only about 2 to 3 seconds to get to max rage when you have the tincture up, so that's really nice. Okay, so the passive tree has changed a bit, and it's kind of interesting because, first of all, let's go over what we've done over here. So I did get a Timeless Jewel. We got a Zibakwa Timeless Jewel, so now we have Divine Flesh. This is actually, after I got this, I immediately felt like way, way tankier. It's basically like 20% more max hit, even though I am losing 1 endurance charge. Let's see here. It is kind of sad, but there really is nowhere else to put it. We could put it over here maybe, but then we lose Unwavering Stance. It would have to get stun immunity somewhere. So maybe it is an option, you can change it around, but for now, it is actually more max hit, even though I am losing 1 endurance charge. So it is kind of sad, but for now, I guess it is working, and I think I'll just keep it here for now. Okay, so what you want to do for your timeless jewel, you basically only need to have Zibanqua on there because that's going to give you divine flesh. And the way it works is you take 50% of your elemental damage as chaos damage. So obviously before you actually use one of these, you want to make sure you actually do have as much chaos res as possible. Otherwise you're actually going to be taking more damage, right? If you're like negative chaos res and you put this on, you're just going to get one shot, right? Okay, so that's that. One nice thing about Divine Flesh, and you know, before I was thinking of doing like a hybrid energy shield setup with like Divine Shield and like going for necrotic armor and those kind of hybrid bases, but one big problem is like elemental penetration, and even if I went for like the hybrid build, elemental penetration would probably just like kill you, right? But Divine Flesh sort of gives you a little bit of protection against penetration because 50% of the damage you take, elemental damage you take, is going into chaos. So if there's like, you know, cold penetration from like the Shaper Balls or something like that, then 50% of that cold damage isn't going to have any penetration, right? So you do kind of protect yourself like that, and it ends up making you quite tanky. Like without this, I think just like one or two Shaper Balls one-shots me, but with this I can actually like tank one or, you know, a few of them and actually have time to react, right? Before, if you don't have this, then it's just like boom, you're dead. But with Divine Flesh, now I actually have time to, like, if I get hit on accident, I can actually react and move out of the way. So that's quite nice. So Divine Flesh, I think I probably will just keep the Divine Flesh setup, because then I can actually just keep all of these pure evasion bases and then just get tons of flat evasion, get more damage. Whereas with the hybrid setup, you would be like losing a lot of evasion, losing a lot of damage, and the max hit you gain from that isn't really as much as you would get with like Divine Flesh. Okay, so that is one change. Another change is, so I've leveled up and have a lot of points, and I actually do have enough points to take another cluster setup, but at this certain like stage of my character, it's actually more damage for me to take some of these other nodes here. We'll go into these because they are kind of like underused maybe, or maybe some people don't really think about this too much on Armor Stacker, but right now we don't really have that much increased evasion or increased armor because we're not using like the fire overcap or the cold overcap. So things like this, like 100% increased evasion from equipped body armor, is like quite a lot of damage, as well as all of these percent increased evasion and all that kind of stuff here. Even this stuff here, this area here is like, if we look in PoB real quick, you can see that this area here, this is like, how much is this? 9% damage increase, so that's kind of nice. This area here too, 10% damage increase. Over here, this one here, 14% damage increase. But that's mainly because of this mastery here. So some of the cool masteries I found is the Armor Evasion Mastery. Here, 8% increased evasion per frenzy and 8% increased armor per endurance charge. And we have, I have 6 endurance charges and 3 frenzies, so I imagine it's quite a lot of armor increase. And then for regen, normally I'd be going for the fire overcap or the fire mastery, the regenerate 1 life per uncapped fire resistance. But at this point, you can see I don't really have that much fire resistance, and there's no real point to actually stack fire resistance right now. Even if I changed all of my cold and lightning to fire and use the formless flame, it's actually going to be the same amount of damage as having the Alpha's Howl, because the Alpha's Howl obviously gives you flat evasion, and then also it does give you +2 gems. So it's not even really worth it to go for any kind of like the fire overcap with the formless flame, that kind of stuff set up just yet on this character. So in order to get a good amount of recovery, I'm using the Armor Evasion Mastery to regenerate life equal to armor and evasion. And that ends up being quite a lot of extra regen. So you can see we have right now 1000 life regen. And when the mastery procs, if we go over here to the burst setup, you can see about almost 10,000 life regenerated per second every 4 seconds. So this really does help when you're in degen or you take a big hit. Yeah, so very nice in for recovery. So even with just like this 1k life regen, a little bit of leech, and this mastery, everything's feeling really nice. All right, so that's pretty, so those masteries are really nice. And right now, until I can get enough, you know, get a good cluster set up, and I'll go over some other more advanced PoBs Actually, we can go check those out now. All right, so this is the current build we're on right now. You can see about 24 million DPS, which is like quite nice, right? And a little bit better gear. Basically, the thing that I'm going to need is I'm going to need the Magnate, and maybe a Corrupted Alpha's Howl and an All's Uprising. So this setup is going to be sort of like what you're going to aim for on your character if you play this kind of build, right? The main difference is basically just the uniques. All's Uprising allows us to get haste active as well, and then we're gonna do some shenanigans with the Grace has no reservations. We can add Arrogance linked to Grace only so that it gets additional aura effect. And then Magnate is just a really good belt in general because of, first of all, the increased flash charges gained when you're not on a Mage Blood. This is going to be pretty big. I guess if you have access to it, Tides of Time is actually a little bit better because it does give you flask effect, and also you just passively gain flash charges, which is just way better than the increased flash charge gain mod. But this on its own is very cheap and very accessible, I think. Also, the 10% chance to deal double damage is very easy to hit. It's very easy to hit to under strength. So you'll get 10% double damage, which is pretty big as well. And then also the all res is quite nice as well. So in this setup here, we're actually going to be going for a 2 cluster setup. You can see the Timeless Jewel area is going to be the same over here. And then we are still taking some of those masteries I was talking about here. And we have the regenerate one here, and we have the increased evasion energy shield per frenzy charge. This character is a little bit more advanced though. It's level 99. I guess you would have to cut out some points to fit everything in, but we're going to put one more cluster over here basically. That's going to allow us to fit in a flesh and stone as well, so that's going to give you quite a bit more max hit. This character over 100k or 100,000 max hit is quite nice. If you really wanted to push it a little bit further, then you could go for a setup like this, where the boots are going to be March of the Legion, and you put your Smite in here. Not using it for the aura or the divine blessing, but just putting it, Smite in there is going to increase your DPS by quite a bit because of the extra levels to Smite. Other than that, the setup is pretty much exactly the same. Now, moving forward from here, there's a lot of other things you can do with like a fire overcap armor, but that's going to require like significantly better gear, probably Mage Blood, and then you're going to go for like a melding of the flesh setup, or probably from here you would move into a melding setup with Purity of Fire instead of flesh and stone, and then after that you go for the Mage Blood flask setup, and probably have to get rid of alphas for like a gem level helmet, and then you go for the fire overcap armor, and then I don't really know. I haven't really thought about what you would do after that, but probably go into like voices and that kind of stuff. Alright, so pretty happy with the character, how it's turned out, and I probably will keep playing this character until the Path of Exile 2 early access, and then after that we're going to go play PoE 2, so that should be pretty fun. But yeah, this character, I'm actually really surprised is the main thing is like how cheap it is. Like if you bought these things on trade, it's like really cheap. And this character, you could play it like, you know, people are saying, hey man, that's not day 1 gear, but if you really push hard, yeah, it's probably easy to do on day 1, maybe day 2. So, I mean, if you're not pushing hard, then even so, it's like extremely cheap, right? And for that price, you're able to do pretty much all content of the game, aside from Ubers. I haven't really tried Ubers though, so maybe you can do Ubers, I don't know. But yeah, performed a lot better than I expected. Alright, so some of you guys are asking how do I level up the character, and in the original video I have some PoB snapshots of how I leveled. You know, I mean, it's probably not like ideal, but I was just doing Vol Smite with like a 200 sword, and that's pretty much it, right? It was okay. It was, I mean, it wasn't like the best, but like actually Vol Smite really did surprise me, especially when you get a good weapon. Pretty much just like one-tapping everything, right? Even bosses are dying pretty fast. So actually not as bad as I thought leveling. Maybe you could go Sunder or some other kind of meta skill like that, right? It might be a little bit better, but this was like pretty fun. Okay, after that, this is like what I had when I was in maps, when I was unlocking my Atlas, while I was farming for the 2 replica Dream Feathers in the heist, doing some maps, getting the blueprints and that kind of stuff. So this is like the kind of gear I was using, right? And you can see about 2.8 million DPS. Now this is only counting the projectiles for lightning strike, so in reality it is closer to like maybe 3 to 4 million DPS without the vol skills. With vol skills it's probably like 5 million DPS. So not bad at all actually, but yeah. Anyway, so that is how I leveled. And like, what if you wanted to use Smite? And there is like a reason why I chose Lightning Strike, and it's mainly because of my body armor. If you look at this, the dex requirement for this armor is 293. And getting a Smite link setup on this is going to be almost impossible. Well, not impossible, but it's going to be very expensive, right? Because Smite uses 5 red, 1 blue. And yeah, so 6 off colors on a chest like this, not really going to happen. Whereas a chest like this, you go to your bench, you craft 3 sockets, you do 3 red sockets on the bench craft. Then you just do 4 socket, 3 socket, 4 socket, 3 socket until you get the blue socket, and then just do the rest. And they're pretty much always going to be green. Very easy to actually color your chest for Lightning Strike or Molten Strike, right? For Molten Strike, it's the same colors. Whereas for Smite, it would be significantly harder. So that's why I chose Lightning Strike. But for Smite, pretty much all you do is you change the links. You're going to be taking out Lightning Strike, and Pierce returning projectiles is going to be elemental damage attacks, multi-strike, volatility, Smite. Your last link, you can do Ruthless, or you can do elemental focus, or you can do probably inspiration if you have mana issues, right? So there's a couple of links you can use. And then what you do is, since you don't need Sniper's Mark, you can go put in Poacher's Mark, because Poacher's Mark, if you look at the quality over here, if you have quality on it, you have 5% chance to get a frenzy charge on hit. So that's kind of nice. So that's pretty much how you would swap over to Smite. Keep in mind though that Smite is quite a lot less damage than Lightning Strike or Molten Strike. Alright guys, but that's going to be it for this video. Keep it short this time. Thanks for watching. See you next time.